Welcome to my studio, dear friends. Today is Monday and we make our 15 minutes video. The last time we talked about don't touch the paper and how to leave the white paper for the walls and make your painting still look finished. Today we will make another one sketch about the white walls, but this time the rules is paint everything. This photo was made in my favorite country, Portugal. To save our time, I'm already make the sketch. And my first step will be paint the walls. For this, I'm gonna use mix between cobalt blue and somewhere I add just a little bit indigo or a little bit Quin Sienna. Plus, I do my best to use the dry brush strikes. That help me to explain the texture of the wall and make it look old and interesting. Plus, we use that nice special effect. For now, I don't care about the sky at all, we'll make it later. And I'm almost not touching the shadow part, that will be the third step. Remember, if we mix in the cobalt with any kind of warm color, special with the sienna, we have a very nice gray color. That's what I'm doing now. And just to make it interesting, somewhere I add a little bit more cobalt. Somewhere I add a little bit more sienna. And I will spray it again. You know, a lot of people don't like that special effect, but for my feeling it's look nice because that's really watercolor. It never will be look like an oil or something. That's why I like it. A little bit wash out to make the bigger contrast special here. And the last trick to make our walls more interesting, I spray it a little bit with the pigments. And somewhere I add more sienna to make it look like a really old, like this. Okay, the first step is done. Let's make it dry. Because from the first step I decided to use the cobalt like my main blue color. I'm gonna use the cobalt everywhere. By the way, that's my personal rule. For any kind of painting, I'm use just one or two basic blue colors, no more. That simplify my job, and I'm use that blue color for any kind of mixing. So for now we're starting to paint the sky. And for the sky I use just the cobalt itself. We can make it a little bit more interesting if we add phthalo, but I believe it's not necessary. From the sky I need just one thing, like usual. We create the negative space for our subjects. like you can see, this part is pretty simple. If you want to make your painting better, just wash out it somewhere to avoid the strong borders. That make it a little bit more alive. Something like this. Starting from this moment, time to create the shadows. For the shadow, like usual, I'm gonna use one basic mix for everything. This time, let's try to make it warm. So I mix something like a neutral gray color using Quin, Sienna and Indigo. And somewhere I add a little bit more Cobalt and somewhere a lot of Sienna to make the nice warm reflection. We're starting to create the shadow from top. And for the shadow I do my best to use the dry brush everywhere where is it possible to do. More colder mix. I like the silhouette of the shadow, so I'm trying to use that. And for now, using the big strikes, big shapes, I paint all the parts there. Maybe it will be better to switch to the bigger brush. A little bit more cobalt for here. Again, we can spray it a little bit to make it look better. Yes, I like that. And that's the game. We switch to the oranges mix again. You see, I don't make the difference between one part and the second part. We care about this right now. I use the washout to make this part of the building lighter. I will spray here a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna make this part lighter as well. Plus, I'm planning to make that and that shadow darker. But for this I have to create the street first. So let's do that. Let's say that line will be our street. I mean, we continue sketching even if we adjust the painting. Some reflection. Switch to the smaller brush and continue to make the darker touching. That's the dark brown color what I mix. It's just the Indigo and Quin, Sienna, you already know that. It's gonna blend it, but it's good. If you want to stop the blending, you just have to use the paper towel to remove the water. It's gonna be stopped. But I don't mind if it's gonna blend. And here I make the dark accent. I like how it's look like on the photo. I want to repeat this. Great. So few more lines, and no worries, I'm gonna blend it. I'm gonna look soft. A few more wash out to control the shapes, and we're going to create the nice city parts. I mean the windows, the roof, all the details. That's the wash out. It's all the time make our painting look nice because it's very soft gradients. I like that technique. By the way, if you want to learn more about the wash out, you can take my online lesson about that on the site watercoloronline.com, and the whole lesson we're talking about the wash out. Some lines to show the perspective better. I can say we can stop with that. I have to make it dry again, and we're going to finish it our job. If you look at my painting carefully, you will see what we have the same colors in the light part and the same colors in the shadow part. There is no difference, except the value. The darker part much darker. To finish our job, we're starting to create the details, and that's the last step. I'm not planning to use the other colors except this, so that will be enough. That beautiful lamp we'll create a little bit later. Small blending with water. No, it's very interesting to understand how our subconscious see the city. You see, I add just the roof here, the darker parts, and my painting starting to be look like a town just because of that. No worries, we don't spend a lot of time for the details, I just care about the roof. So blending somewhere. Great. The last roof is there, we're gonna make it. Another one. Great. Okay. So like the last time, I create the bottom part of the buildings just with a soft touching like that, and we will make at the same moment a few doors here, because that's extremely important, especially for that view. We fix that. I don't want that kind of blending so much, just a little bit like this. That's look nice. Okay, so we're starting to create the windows right now, and for this we're gonna use just a soft blending with the same colors, nothing more. I'm gonna make the big shape first, and after that I will touch it with the darker accents. When you're painting the windows, my advice, don't try to be perfect, to not create the perfect squares or something. It's much better to play with the imagination. You have to make something that will look like a window, but to not make the window itself. Okay, I put some colors for my future lamp, just a little bit. Great. Now I switch to the tiny brush, this one, my travel brush. It's very pointy and it's very easy to create the details with that brush. So let's go. Again, I use the mix Indigo and the Sienna. I will start from my lamp. and I make the big shadow from this lamp as well, right here. Okay, and we're back to the darker touching here, and the wires, for sure we will make the wires. By the way, that's another one secret. If you remember the reference photo, it was in the portrait position. What I'm doing is at the landscape. The reason is the simple. You have to promise me don't tell anyone. That's my personal solution how to avoid the way to copy photo. I have to change the composition. If I have a photo in the landscape position, I can make the vertical painting. In that case, I have to rebuild the picture. In that case, I'm never going to copy what I see. So that's the secret solution. Don't tell anyone. Lines to show the perspective. It's all the time great opportunity. If we can do that, that's all the time makes sense to do. And the dark shadows touching for the whole the windows. That's the last step for all our job today. Just again, do your best to be not perfect. That's the just a noise. It's not the subject. It's the shadows what we see. You know, if you ask yourself how many windows you see on that photo, you never find the answer. We don't know. We just know what that's the windows. That means that's what we have to do. We just have to create something what will be look like a town. Okay, we're done. Like you see, you can paint the white walls, or you can leave it like a clear white paper. It's up to you. It depends, do you interested in the textured walls, or you just want to explain the lights? Or it depends on how much time you have to your job. All the materials what I'm using on my Video you can find on my website watercoloronline.com. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.